Magic.
Hi, welcome to Miracle Moments. I am Daniela DeCastro, psychic medium and a healer, and I have my beautiful friend with me that we are co-hosting our new show. Introduce yourself, beautiful lady.
Hi, I'm Kathryn, the crazy red-haired lady. I am an animal communicator, psychic medium, and Reiki master. And I also make my own products.
Awesome. So, Catherine actually came up with the idea for our first show, and I'll let her tell the story. But this one is on growing older with grace, which I think is huge in today's society. But I do believe with COVID, more women have shifted into that. I don't know if you've noticed, Catherine, but a lot of us women stopped dyeing our hair. And COVID, it just seemed like it was a perfect time to do it. So, more so than any other part of my life, I'm seeing more women in certain brackets, right? Like some people, like my grandmother was gray at 16, no, 18. They said she was completely gray at 18. But that's unusual, but still,
Yeah.
some people go gray very young. And it's a sign of being older and as up you pass your prime. And I personally found it incredibly liberating to grow out my hair. But I want you to bring up that same story that you told me about doing, you just started coming across things. You were doing your research.
Yes, right. Well, I find that, the more people that I know that are letting their hair grow out and be natural, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, I understand when you're 18, you're not looking for your hair to be gray. You still want to dye it or do whatever funky stuff you want to do with it. So I can understand at 18, but when you're 30, 40, I think it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful shade. So
Thank you. I have to tell you, this has been one of the most empowering things that I've ever done. And before we were chatting, before we started recording, and Catherine said something that I thought was true because one of the other things that have changed was, do I feel like going out right now with makeup or not makeup? Something has shifted, I think, to give women more freedom. Would you agree with that?
yeah, I think yeah. Yes and no. I don't know. I think it's just it, well, especially when it comes to women who have kids and toddlers and that kind of thing like that. There's still the small major or the bigger majority of people that, at least the people that I run into, I'm always surprised because they're all done up. I mean, they're like, in their 30s and they've got their kids and their Starbucks, but their nails are polished and their makeup's all done and their hair's perfect. And I'm like, what the heck? When I had toddlers, I didn't look anything like that. My hair was insane. My nails were chewed off. I was lucky that any of my clothes matched. I had spit up down the front of me. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? But to each his own. I don't necessarily know if there is more pressure on that age group to look perfect and there was less on it on the other, but it does seem that once you hit your 40s though, there is still that expectation that you need to look like you're 20. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you. Like I was saying that one day I was looking at trying to figure out what's so great about being 42. What's great about being 42? And I looked on Pinterest, and the things that kept coming up were insane. It was like, look younger, wear your makeup like this so that you look younger. There's eye cream, there's, tape, there's, all these
Oh,
tutorials.
like what the actors do? Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
put tape on, raise your eyelids up, that kind of thing like that. And then, or
Hold on.
it was,
Sorry. Are you supposed to walk around like that?
no, they're actual little things that you can put on your eyelids that like it like hides it, and then you can put makeup over it, and it looks, whatever. But
The lift it, so it's like a poor man's facelift.
right, exactly, or like the Botox, so that no one is
Oh,
surprised.
there's so
Like
much.
everybody looks the same.
What
You
about
know,
this, Catherine? You ever see this? Like I'm actually smiling right now.
right? Yes, right. You're supposed to actually stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth so that it pulls in this when you get your picture taken, so that you don't look like you have two chins. Right? Exactly.
I
You
appreciate
know,
it.
well, it's like, is this what we have to look forward to? Like, once you hit 42, put you out to pasture. There's Bessie, she's just a pet. And it's really unfortunate about her. Now she's, look at her. Just look how terrible she looks. She won't buy into that society norm. You know, kill your body basically, oh, eat healthy, eat vegan, eat this, don't eat anything, or work your body to extreme so that you don't have an ounce of fat on you, or or you look old, or wear this type of cream because you're starting to show crow's feet, you've got these lines here. I had one pop up the other day and I was like, where the hell did that come from? I'm sitting around trying to do they have face yoga, which I actually think is a good thing, because who doesn't need more oxygen in their
Oh,
face and in their bodies?
I mean,
Right? Good blood flow.
yes.
I'm all for that, but I don't want you to tell me that I have to look this way in order to be accepted. Like,
I think
there's
that's a bigger issue.
yeah, it is. It seems like you have to look thin in order to be, or you have to look younger, or you have to wear this, or you have to wear that in order to be professional.
I think with all of that is society telling you how to look and how to feel about yourself, which is denying. It's like a lack of boundaries, right? Because somebody else is programming you. And all of that is society's pressure for us to compete to stay stuck looking physically young, whether in our 20s or our 30s. But it's funny that you prompted me, because I remember those women that always looked perfect when my kids were little. Um, yeah, I mean, I tried to look my best, but it was just like I was more about having fun. Not that I didn't do makeup, but it was more about, like, let's go to the park with the kids. It was about experiences. I had my what I feel my first childhood with my children when they were little. Like, I really got to play. So it was, for me, it was less about how I looked and more about enjoying that time in my life. And I really think I did. But it's kind of a race against the clock to try to stay looking a certain way. I'm all for, you want to be healthy, but how healthy is it to deny, yes, drink your water, eat health, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever makes you feel good up here. And I think that's a key. Um,
But if
but
you want a glass of wine or you want a piece of chocolate, for God's sakes, eat the dang chocolate. I mean, drink the glass of wine, have a good time,
do
like
you know
enjoy life.
scientifically proven that when you do something, like even if it's a cookie, right? People eat healthy, the 80/20, whatever. But when you look at that cookie, whatever it is that you're doing, the glass of wine, and looking at it with pleasure, not feeling guilty, that changes the whole energy.
Oh
How you
yeah.
feel about that act changes the whole act itself. I think that's vital. But I don't like that as if aging is a negative thing. And that's what I think our programming has been. And I really do think the more you come to terms with things, again, do what's best for you, what makes you feel good. But letting society dictate, because society is run by commercialism, right? And corporations. So they're trying to sell us the latest, greatest gadget, chew on his damn thing to firm this up. Did you see that
Yeah,
one on
right. Do the different exercises, and there's the other thing
Friday?
that seems like,
Cream.
right, like you can't be sexy anymore. You can't be sexy at 30. You can't be sexy at 50. They
Oh, they
make it seem
definitely
like,
been putting that out there. Do you know
yeah,
what
they
I mean?
seem like that you can't, don't show this, don't show that. But I mean, it's like it's frowned upon if you are considered sexy at 40, or that you want to feel sexy at 40. All those, if you read any romance novels or any fiction book, even just fiction books with the main character, she's not usually in her 40s. you
True.
know she's
See?
in her 30s, or she's 25, or she's in college, and it's the hunk of a man that doesn't exist. I mean, I'm sure there are many men out there who can get a six pack, whatever, but it doesn't, most people don't maintain that,
Mhm.
unless that's all they do is go to the gym and work out, and they don't have anything else to do with their life. People have life takes over, depression, anxiety, these kinds of things will,
Responsibilities.
responsibilities. It's you can still be sexy and have children. You can still be sexy at 42, and so you have a little extra around the middle. And isn't that sexy? Or you have these, because for whatever reason it seems like I can't think unless I'm doing this. If I'm thinking hard about something, I'm doing this. Stevie will say to me, "What are you thinking about?" And I'll be like, "Nothing. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "You're going like this. You must be thinking hard about something."
That
I
is
don't know.
that is very funny. But I personally have noticed something. It was accidental. One day I went for like an hour or longer walk in the woods, and I needed to grab something from the grocery store, even though I was stinky and sweaty. And it was like one in and out, right? But I felt, and we were talking about this privately, I felt really good inside. Not like I look great, like all sweaty and with a hat and all this.
Right. Yeah.
But it's
Right.
just, I guess because I honored myself, and for me, it's very healing to be out in nature. So exercising, and I've been doing things that are good for me. And I noticed so many that day where you would think nobody's going to look at you. I had so many people, various ages, men looking at me, and I'm like, and it clicked in my head because I feel good, and it's in my heart, but it's up here, and
Right.
it's an energetic thing. I think like a transmission that you send out, because when I feel good about myself, I definitely get attention, and it doesn't always have to do with what you're wearing. What does your makeup look like and stuff like that? What does your hair look like?
Right. Yes. I can't, what is it they say? Something about how a confident woman is beautiful. And, I think that's true. But a confident woman without makeup is beautiful. A confident woman without, I mean, she could be wearing an old t shirt and paint on her pants. But if she's,
If she
rocking right? If she's confident in who she is, then that's what makes her beautiful. Or
and
I don't know. It's,
loving yourself as well. I think that's transmitted. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? You really have a good relationship with yourself, things start to shift. And people, I think they even give you more respect. It really comes down to how do you feel about yourself? And that's what I'm saying. Like, exercise is very healthy for the body. But like I said, going out into nature, it's very healthy for me up here too. You know,
Right. Yes.
also drinking the water. Yes, I know it's good for our body, but it's up here where I like that I'm loving myself and doing self care and doing positive things. Do you know what I mean? It's a little
Yes.
bit deeper than here, try this cream.
You try this cream, right? Water's, I know water is really good for you. I have a hard time drinking water, so because sometimes it just doesn't taste very good. But I've started adding like, if I put the lemon in it, or if I put frozen raspberries in it, or that kind of thing like that, then I'm more likely to drink it because it tastes better, and
Wine.
wine, perfect, right? And of course, I'm not saying like don't wear makeup, but I'm just more or less saying, I guess if you feel like it, wear it. If you don't. Do it
It's
for
your choice.
you.
Do what
Yeah,
makes you happy. Do what feels
right,
good to you.
right. And I think when talking about helping our brains and that kind of thing, the um, with the water, and then also, I mean, supplements are great, but the statements, if I'm feeling like my home is in a tree and I can't figure out what the hell I'm doing with my life, I start with my I am statements, and I try to change my brain and what I say to myself. And then, of course, as we know, that changes the energy because thoughts are things.
Right. No,
So,
true.
yeah.
But I wanted to bring up an important part, because we're talking about how you feel about yourself. Do you feel pretty? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel worthy? Because I think boundaries all come in with this. And I notice as I have stronger boundaries, it impacts my relationship with self. And believe it or not, that makes me feel more attractive. Valuing myself, honoring myself makes me feel sexy. It's maybe because I feel powerful.
Yes. I think it's, yeah, we're finding that your inner diva, if anything. I mean, you don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can have your own inner self worth that's like, I'm just not going to tolerate that. You're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to continue to, talk over me. You're not going to continue to push what I have to say under the mat, that kind of thing like that.
And you're
So,
not like, I refuse to be in an afterthought.
yes, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Because if somebody treats you like an option, that doesn't feel very good, does it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Where
So
there's,
that's why boundaries are important. It's all about your relationship with self. And I think that's where, because honestly, I've seen women that are in their 70s and 80 and they're beautiful.
yes,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I totally think that. I
it's
mean,
not
there is
a calendar.
something, right. There is something almost magical, if you will, at least in feeling like you can smile and the door is open for you, or like, not that my whole day is based on the fact that that person opened the door for me, but it is just something like kind of like, that's just really nice. It's just really nice. And then of course, saying thank you because, I what is it? Chivalry is not dead or something, or having manners shouldn't be dead either, but um I don't know, it just does give you a little extra bounce in your step. But what caused that? Do you feel good about yourself? Are you having a really horrible day? Did were you kind to that person? I don't know. It just, yeah.
I know when I'm feeling good about myself, things seem to magically come to me. So
Yeah.
it was opened up that way, but I understand what you're saying. But what I also notice is when I open the door for someone, like the other day, I picked my son up from work and I wanted to get him something to eat on the way home because it was a busy night. So I bought him like one of the best pizza pies around over here. And as I was leaving the restaurant with the pie, two younger women were coming in. And I opened the door for them, and they were going to open the door for me. You know what I mean? They were trying to be polite. And I said, "No, I'll open the door for you, two beautiful young ladies." You would have thought, like, it was so bright. Their energy just expanded, and they lit up, and they biggest smiles, and they were like, "Thank you." So, like, it really meant something. Not just holding the door, but giving another woman or these two women compliments. I
Yeah.
women should also be lifting other women up because too often that's not something that we've been trained to do. To
No, there's this big competition between women, like it seems like, oh, well, you look younger. How come you made that suit work? How come you can wear that color and I look horrible in it? Well, that's because that person has dark hair. I have red hair. That color is going to, like make me look like I glow in the dark. Like I'm okay with this, right? But it's just, there's that constant, are we dressing for ourselves? Are we dressing for each other? Are we going to be knocked down the rung because we look thinner, younger, more important, more professional, more whatever?
No, I love that. And if you guys were on with us right before we started hitting record, Kathryn and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you look so beautiful," because Kathryn has been running around all day. And she agreed to do this with me because I'm going to use your term, squirrel brain.
Yes.
I combine Wednesday and Thursday together. So thank you so much for changing your plans. I greatly appreciate you.
Oh, it's no problem, but I totally get it. It's like, they're all in there and they're all thinking, and one's wearing hula hoop and one has tap shoes on, and whichever one has the tap shoes on, you're going to listen to until they stop tap dancing. So,
Let's see, what else? Oh, I love this point that we talked about. I can't put words in your mouth, but I know for me, something changed when I hit 40 or around there, early 40s. And I've heard other women say this, and I believe there's truth to it. When you hit 40, your BS thermometer, you're done. I've
this
heard
will,
people say, I don't have time to waste like I did in my 20s. Like if somebody's not treating you well, somebody's being disrespectful to you, or just you don't enjoy that person's company. Why am I going to have coffee with somebody that I don't enjoy the conversation? Do you know what I mean?
yes.
Like years ago, I remember being at a restaurant with somebody, and we had grown apart. We were friends. We grew apart, and not silly me, I did it twice with the same person, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? This is 2 hours I'll never get back in my life. You know,
Right. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing this?
I
Like,
realized I no longer enjoyed this person's company, and I promised myself I would never put myself in that position again, and I haven't because it was just awful. I don't know how else to explain it, but people feel like that in a way the clock is ticking and you honor and value yourself. Why am I going to do something I don't like to do? Whether
right.
it's call coffee an evening, you're not going to do something. And I think 40 gives women freedom. Maybe because the
Yes.
kids are starting to get a little bit older, we're branching out more. But I also felt more and more confident and comfortable in my skin. Prior to that, people always saw me as confident. I may not
Mhm.
have felt that way. Now I do. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
I think there's also that piece, when you're 20s and 30s, you're still, well, we're constantly changing and growing. We're constantly seeing the world at a different perspective, this or that, and I think that by the time you're 40, you pretty much know, well, mostly your what you stand for, what kind of people you gravitate towards, or clearly everybody you're willing to give everyone a shot. But if they, once you'll do it once, but then after that it's kind of like, you know, if you
Mhm.
can't spell my name right, if I've told you 6 times this is how you spell my name, I'm not going to mess with you anymore because clearly I've written it out, I've sent it to you, I've mailed it to you, I've told you 12 different times this is how you spell my name. And if you don't have the time, then you don't respect me enough to spell it right, and I'm not going to waste my time.
That's a boundary.
Yeah, but that's by the time you're 40, you figured out that
You
you
don't value me. This person does not value me.
right, exactly. But not at maybe not at 25 you figured that out yet. It's sort of, but I guess maybe it depends on your personality. I'm the type of person that knows that people make mistakes. I am one who loses things a lot. And so, if I forget something or don't bring it, and then that person comes to me and they forgot something and they didn't bring it, I allow, obviously, like, oh, are you kidding? I lose stuff all the time. But it's the boundary between, if you generally know that person is just having an off day or they're just blowing you off because they know you're understanding.
Or maybe it doesn't even have anything to do with you, Catherine. What if that's how that person is?
Well,
There's
there's that too.
absorbed and a lack of respect towards others. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's always that. But I notice my tolerance for lack of respect. If I feel like somebody doesn't value my time or services, like I'm very picky about which clients I'll work with because if you're not serious about working on yourself, there are plenty of people out there that want my help, and I'm not going. My bar is pretty high because there's only so many hours in a day. So if somebody you don't respect yourself and you don't respect my work, you know what I mean? I'm not going to waste my time with you because I can the money's coming in either way. The universe provides for me. That's not an issue. Like I've learned how to work that gravy train, whatever it is. Because
Right.
honestly, all I think of it as a switch. Turn a switch on when I want to work and it comes in. And when I need to do creative work, the universe knows I need my downtime to get things done. So those people that are not serious on their path, I don't have time, you know?
Mhm.
And I want to do projects more like this because I want to help women or people in general to feel more comfortable in their skin, self-love, acceptance. Because when you start getting there, let me tell you something. I think it like too much we put the cart before the horse because I started doing things. You've known me for a couple of years now. Well, before you knew me, I was walking 3 hours a day. Okay, I was eating the proper foods, and guess what, Catherine? Wasn't really shedding any weight, right? And I wanted to be healthier. I didn't want to have the complications that come. Well, light bulb. I started. I still do positive, healthy things, but started having a relationship with myself and my body, and my body is shifting and it's
Yeah.
because I'm loving it, I'm healing it. My meditations were always like I was trying to help the world, trying to help this. Now I pray for my brain, because I've had a brain injury. I just pray for different parts, my heart, my abdomen, my knees, my hips, my ankles. And that's what I do now for like an hour meditation as I'm walking. And even when I'm focusing, if I hurt in a particular area and start putting my energy there, like that, it stops. So you tell me, like
Yeah, right. Those are important
like
things,
the
but
act, I know the acts are important, but what is it? Is it my connection in honoring myself and trying to love myself and heal myself? Now the weight is starting to shift. I just feel for the first time in many years, I'm going to be sliding that off and I'm not doing anything differently.
well,
I
I
have,
think that one of the well, and I think that's really fantastic. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice you gave me. I mean, you've given me a lot over the years, but one of them was, if Catherine was your best friend, what would you tell her to do? And I'd never thought of it like that. I mean, I'm usually great at doing other people's lives, but when it comes to my own, I'm all over the place. But um, when I started to ask myself, well, what does Kathryn want to do today? Well, Kathryn wants to eat ice cream for dinner. Well, does Kathryn always eat ice cream for dinner? No, but maybe just today she does. Well, I think, and then I thought, okay, well, Kathryn really shouldn't eat that for dinner. How about lunch? You could do that for lunch.
The thing is, enjoy every moment of it.
Right. Yes.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Instead of, we should all over ourselves, right? So like, they're not our shoulders anymore. They become our shoulders. And with the integrative energy therapy work that I do, that is one of the points that we work on with you trigger it and then you release it and then you trigger it again. So you trigger the negative thought and then work with the energy to pulling it out and then trigger it again and put the positive thought in. But it's the shoulder, and it even talks about carrying your shoulders. And how many times a day do we say I should be thinner, I should look younger, I should be doing the face yoga, I should be putting this cream on my face, I should be going to bed sooner, I should be drinking more water, I should be walking the dogs, I should be playing with the kids, seriously, right? And that's always going upstairs. So that doesn't help us feel any younger either.
But it's also not accepting ourselves. We're constantly like, you know what I mean? If you were the boss of Kathryn, right? A separate entity, that was a pretty stinky boss because
Right.
there's negativity. And that's not going to make Kathryn a better worker, right?
Right.
But what about the boss that's like, you know what, Kathryn, I really appreciate what you're doing. You're doing such a great job. I appreciate that you always give 100%. You stay like pointing out the positive things that Kathryn does. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I met you, you were very, very hard on yourself. You saw what you were doing wrong or not doing instead of giving yourself credit for the positive steps you were taking in your life. Also, even for your past, I don't think you really back then gave yourself credit for all the things that you've accomplished, where you came from, what you did, and where you are now.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's part of being pretty. I think that's part of being confident is being able to look at yourself and say, you're not where you were. You don't have to do that again. That's done. You are past that. Now look at these glorious things. But it's that what programming that it's in the movies, it's on the TV, it's on the social media, it's this or that getting away from that programming that says you have to fit this mold instead of looking at where you have come from, instead of looking at, yeah, sure, in your 20s, yeah, you might have been thinner and you might have fit into those jeans, but what was going on in your life? In your 30s, yeah, you might have still fit into those skinny jeans, but what was going on in your life? Did you even feel like eating? No. That's why you weren't eating. But like, look what you're doing now. Though those are those things, but we don't think of those in the moment. We don't when we're looking at the Pinterest list that says what's so great about being 42 and everything keeps coming up with you need to look younger. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that makes it that much harder to get out from underneath.
Again, though, I truly believe if you can change this programming, we become more attractive because we're happier, we're lighter. People want to be around us and spend time. It's just, I was part of this, the LA Tribune did the Women's Quantum Leap Forum, and there was one of them that was talking about a makeup artist, right? And when she would professionally working with, it was a story somebody told, working with models, and on their way up, because she would do pretty, like when she was doing the makeup. And somebody said, "Why do you do that when you do the makeup?" And she goes, "Oh, it's something that I started when I was doing the models." And she goes, on the way up, they were saying, like, the women, the models were happier, taking care of themselves. She said when they reached the top, they started doing like things that were harmful to themselves. So they're at the top of their game professionally, but they're doing drugs like heroin and things like that. And I was confused for a second, right? But it made sense to me because they hit it and they felt like from this point in my life, only downhill. What a horrible perspective.
Do you know what I mean? This is the prettiest you'll ever be.
Yes, and then your life is going downhill after there. And the Hollywood actresses have so much pressure on themselves to, like, because they cut them off at a pretty young age, you know what I mean? Well, I would consider a young age, like Betsy. Or what'd you say, Bessie? Go out to pasture.
Bessie, go out to pasture. Yeah. I mean, at my age, they would be like, put her out there. She runs slow. Put her outside.
Lucky if they don't shoot us like the horse.
Right? Exactly.
So that's why it's like, wow, what pressure. So we have it from there, but they have that pressure too. And it's ridiculous to me because if you feel good inside, you're vibrant. Like, I know when I was growing up, my mom had me a little bit older, um, and when she would answer the phone, my friends would have a conversation with her. And after, like, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes in, she'd say, "Do you think I'm Daniela?" Because she sounded so young. Like, I didn't realize, clicks and more now, how people mistook us, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I became later 20s, I moved to Florida and I worked in pharmacy, and people would have to give me their licenses. And again, my parents had me a little bit later for that time period. And I was shocked because I would see somebody come in that looked very ill, right? Obviously, they looked older and, like, you know what I mean, feeble maybe. And I would be shocked to my boots to find that they were like in their 40s. That is, you are agreeing. When you do that, you are agreeing to an illness. And I'm trying not to be on my soapbox, but I've asked to be cured of things. I was told in my late 20s, early 30s, I'd be in a wheelchair, like paraplegic because of degenerative, I guess, disease, whatever, failure. And it was documented, and I was in so much pain. No longer, I didn't want to kill myself, but I used to fantasize about a bullet in the brain because nothing that they did for me helped the pain. It's excruciating, and I would have to crawl out of bed. I didn't have children. I was told I wouldn't be able to physically carry children, like, in my body. And I used to have to slide down a bed and crawl to the bathroom to use the bathroom. Like, I couldn't walk, like, on bad days. And then when I received a miraculous healing from a healing mass, and I had never even heard of such a thing, but I've been able to get rid of two heart ailments. You know, not anything crazy, but a heart murmur and mitral valve prolapse, no longer in existence. So
Awesome.
I refuse. And my brain injury, they gave me 3 years to heal. I was a basket case after 3 years, and I'm gonna try to clean up since this is all show. But I was like, this. I
Right.
refuse. Don't tell me how much time I have to heal, because I was nowhere near what I am now. And I said, this is my body, and I am going to heal my brain. So if I can do all that with God, creator, source, energy, I think anybody can. That's just my belief system. But I'm not making this stuff up. I had medical things by the experts, my neurologist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a car accident. So if I can do it, why can't you? That's just my philosophy with people. People have to be willing to accept that healing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's all a process, though. I mean, where I was, what? I mean, even you, I mean, however many years ago that was, where you were then, and what you said that you were able to tolerate, and what you are now, and what you're able to tolerate, and then what do we change about our brains? What can we change about what we tell ourselves? What can we change about, are we going to buy into the fact that we don't want to be old Bessie out in the backyard because we're only a whopping 42? I can't even remember my age half the time. I have to ask Stevie what it is because I don't remember. And so, like, um, and I actually met this amazing woman this weekend, and what goes along with what you were just saying, and that's why I think it's so serendipity, because she's 97 and she's still doing the shows,
Nice.
and she sells crystals and she does astrology, and I mean, you'd never know that she was. I mean, I would think maybe put her at her 80s. I would never would have expected her to be at 97. I mean, I was like, what? And so, anyway, she said what she does is that she said, I need my body. And so I put my hands on whatever the ache is or whatever the pain is. And I say, okay, guides, I need the best doctor that you have. And you need to fix this so that I can go out and do my work. And she puts it on whatever ailment it is, and it's gone. And she said, I don't have a physical doctor. I don't have a medical doctor. I don't go to the doctor. I have a doctor. And I ask that doctor to fix me.
Absolutely. I love
And
that.
I was like, and so like I actually did it recently. I have a pain in my shoulder and I'm working on, that thing with the flu shot that I got in December, right?
Oh,
And I was
yeah,
at your house, right? And it was all that stuff.
yeah.
So I did that. I needed to mow the grass and I put my hand on my shoulder and I said, okay, I need the best after that you have. And I went outside and I mowed the grass and my shoulder didn't hurt.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What were you wearing?
Right? What was I wearing? I was wearing some shorts that were too big and an old
Oh,
t-shirt.
you because tell them what you sometimes wear. I've seen pictures. What do you
Oh,
sometimes?
what am I wearing? I was wearing the dinosaur costume. And I said, and you told me this morning that I needed to get the dinosaur costume out because I do. And you know what? There is a moment of feeling pretty. When I'm feeling silly and inside this costume and just being a goofball is just like so freeing, because no one else gets it but me. CB gets it. It makes other people laugh. And we all, as adults, especially as adults, need to laugh more. And so I, try to come up with funky things to wear in the costume. Now, right now, it's hotter than hell to be inside that thing. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
no,
Like,
that I can understand.
but I was thinking, I could do it at evening once the sun goes down a little bit. Then I could get my handy dandy videographer to catch me mowing the grass again. But yeah,
I will tell you one thing from personal observation from your visit, and Kathryn and I met on Spirit. What is it? Spirit Hawk Cruise.
Spearheart Cruise. Yeah, CB always says he was asked to go, but I came home with all the friends.
I mean, I love CB. I'm getting to know him better now, but that's true. CB bought
Yeah.
her Christmas present to come and see me, which was a beautiful, beautiful present for both of us. But I'm trying to figure out how to say this without throwing you in hot water. But when Kathryn gets silly, because you're just speaking the truth. When you get silly, it makes you feel, I would assume from watching you, empowered.
Yes.
And she gets very sexy because when we went out to dinner with Jeremy that night, we were all goofing around. Your
Yeah.
energy blew up, like in a good way. Do you
That
remember?
was a really fun night. That was a really fun night. And you know what? And I felt good. And I actually, sometimes when I need a moment to feel good or to feel when I was really happy, I think of that moment. I had such a fun time that just sitting outside and the weather was amazing and there was no expectation on me. It was just to be there with my friends to have fun. So.
But you truly, because you were having fun and you were being silly, you were very confident, you were radiating. You were radiating. So that, like, where did
So
that
now I just have to find that. Well, I need to bring that out. I need to figure out how to bring that out.
You just said it.
Yeah.
By attaching to that moment, you can bring that energy.
That's right. Yes.
Absolutely. Right. So I think that we've covered a lot of material today. It was what I thought it would be, meaning maybe not all the topics, but our connection. I love it. It's fun, and it's exactly what I thought. Like, this will give us an excuse to help others and spend time with one another.
Yes, for sure. And look younger, because when we're having fun, we're looking younger.
Absolutely. So I hope this helps the future people that will be watching us. Kathryn, what's your website?
thecrazyredhairedlady.com.
Okay.
And on Facebook, The Crazy Red Haired Lady as well.
Do you have any shows coming up?
There's one here locally. It's in Franklin, Indiana. And there is another one. I think it's in Ohio, but I need to double check when that is. So.
Okay, so next time, because CB had invited me to one September-ish. There was one later.
Yes, there's one in September, right? But I think it might be the Gift of Light again in September. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Did he say what state it was in?
He said I could stay with you, so I'm assuming yours.
Oh, it must have been. Yes. No, that's right. He's right. It's the Good Journey show, the Good Journeys Expo in September.
So
Yes.
I'm just using this moment to say I want to come. But
okay, that's fantastic. Great, we'll get you there.
I would trip anyway to Indiana to come see you since you came to see me.
Right.
My website is www.daniela. No, that's the old one. www. Divine Messages by Daniela.com, fourth website. It's under construction now, but it's coming out. I do psychic healing, psychic readings, mediumship, but I love the quantum healing. I call it the quantum healing because, as I've already explained in this, all these possibilities are available to all of us. So it's attaching your energy to where you want to go. You know what I mean? Because I believe I just found out recently, I talked to a friend of mine in Australia, and I have no training on traveling, what I like time traveling, quantum healing. I know it sounds odd, but I'm able to move in different directions, and I call it sliding because the way that I do it, emotionally, energetically connect to something and slide in. And I found out that's actually a term that they use to teach it, and I've never had any training. And I was,
Oh, that's so cool.
he said, he looked at me because he's been doing this kind of work for 45 years, and he looked at me and he goes, for some reason they felt it important to share that information with you because I do that in my free time. That's just how I amuse myself because I don't have a TV. So,
I don't like to watch TV. There's too much stuff on it, so I don't
so
like to watch
I know, and
TV.
it doesn't feel good, you know.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate your time, your friendship. She is a beautiful, amazing woman. She has great products. One of my favorite ones is the spritzer. I don't know. Why don't do you want to talk about that one before we head off?
Oh, okay, sure. Yes, I make Reiki infused products, baths, teas, and spritzers. So I pray over everything and then give it good love, so that that you can immerse yourself in the love and drink in the love and spray the love all over you, so that you feel, well, beautiful. I even have one that talks about feeling beautiful, bringing out your inner sparkle, empowering yourself. So, because we all need it. We all need it in whatever form that looks like.
Couple. Like it was the same one. Do you remember you said, "Oh, I didn't know why I packed this, but it was for you," and
Oh,
it
that was
really
yeah,
it was
yeah.
because I can be so exhausted, like bone tired. I have to do one more thing, right? And I'll take your spritzer on my face, and it does whatever you do with your products, that particular one, because I have experience with some of them. It really does immediately wake you up, lift you up. You just feel refreshed and energized.
I think that you have the revive your sass,
Yes.
which is for, yes, which is for that feeling, that burned out feeling, that exhausted, you can't go on.
Yeah.
Um, and so the coordinating bath that goes with is soak your tired sass, which is so I have revive your sass and soak your tired sass. So all of my products are a play on words, because we all go into the bath feeling one way and we come out feeling divine. So soothe your pain in the sass, soak your tired sass, empower your sass, sensual sass, and there was one more, in pain, tired, emotional. I don't know. I can't remember. I even made them and I can't remember them. And then the spritzers, tame your squirrel sass, which is great for when you go to Costco. Oh my gosh, because there's so many people in there. And let's see, move your sass, which is for when you're feeling lethargic and you have no motivation. Sparkle your sass, which is for when you feel like that toxic shaming, those body shamings, that I should just put a bag over my head. Um, revive your sass, which is the burned out feeling, and then dreamy sass, which helps you sleep.
Ooh.
And so tame your squirrel sass is probably my favorite. I use it all the time.
Oh, I knew that was created for you.
Yes,
That's
totally was.
my favorite. Um,
Yes.
I'm going to say this directly. Well, I'm going to say it to you and anybody that's going to be watching this. Pay attention to the difference between Kathryn during our talk and when Kathryn started having fun talking about her products, because you became alive and very animated, but you kind of got like a little sexy vibe going. Are you
Okay,
gonna
good to know. What?
Well, when I publish this, I'm going to publish it next week. I want you to go back and watch. Even if you fast forward, go back and watch when you start talking, like a little bit before and
Mhm.
then during, like when you're talking about your products, because you come alive.
Oh, well, that's good. It's
Yeah.
always good to be alive. Are you here? Are you here? Check your pulse.
You're such a comedian, but I love you. I think
We
this.
love you too. Thank you for creating this space for us. I think it's amazing.
I think it's going to be a great adventure for us. But one of the things that I really think I'm going to love about it is that I get to, we both got very caught up in our lives, and we've not drifted apart emotionally, just time wise. So this is
Yes.
going to force us to actually be able to.
Right.
We do like occasionally talking on the phone, but I don't think there's any substitution for like being able to see you.
Right. Exactly. I'm happy to get on a plane and see you anytime. I'll just be like, hey,
Hey,
CD, you got the kids. Bye.
empty bedroom.
Empty bedroom.
So
That's right.
don't don't say it twice, because then I'm going to expect to open a door and see you at my front
That's
door.
right.
Just saying.
Right. I got my stuff.
I love you very much.
Okay. Love you too. Bye.
Thank you everyone for joining us.